Good morning, I'm Tom Remington. Welcome to an episode of Open Air with Tom Remington. There was a fool who lived in a log cabin on the side of a mountain. And I'm messing around with my lighting here, so bear with me, all right? I'll put that up, my little Superman hat. Anyway, there was a fool who lived in a log cabin by himself up on the side of a mountain. And he was sitting in his chair one day, staring at his fireplace, watching the wood burn, and it began to rain outside. Well, he sat there for a few minutes, and he felt something on his head, and he looked up, and lo and behold, he discovered his roof was leaking, and it was dripping on his head. So he got up and he went out into the kitchen, and he got a pot, and he come back and he sat down in his chair. And he tried to hold the pot up on his head or balance it there somehow to catch the water. Well, that didn't work real good. So he decided to, maybe what he ought to do is go get his raincoat and put that on. Because when the water hit in the pan, it would splash and it would still get on him. So he went and put on his raincoat, sat down, and he had his raincoat on, and he was holding the bucket on top of his head and trying to catch the water. Well, that wasn't too bad, but his arms got tired and whatever, so he didn't know quite what to do. So he thought, well, you know what? Maybe if I move my chair out from underneath the leak, that would help. So he got up and he slid his chair over and sat back down and watched the fire for a while, and then he looked over and he noticed that the water was still dripping and it was landing on the floor. So he thought, oh, well, maybe I should put the bucket underneath the drip. So he put the bucket down and it started catching the water, and this went on for the longest time, and he just left his bucket there, and he never took care of the problem of the leak in the roof to begin with. So the next time it rained, it would drip again and land in his bucket. And, here's the case. The guy wasn't smart enough to realize that if he just went up on the roof and found out where it was leaking, he could stop the rain from coming in his house. Well, that's sort of the same thing that's going on here with our homeland security and our safety in flying. Here's a boy, which is no more than he is, and I prefer to call him the Pantybomber. A lot of people picked up this underwear bomber. Well, yeah, I think that gives them all a little bit too much credibility. So I call him the Pantybomber. And, there's all of this, oh, my goodness, this guy got on a plane and he almost blew up a plane. So the first thing that they did was, there was a fool who came out, first of all, and said the system worked, but then they decided, well, they were going to fix this problem. So they went and got a bucket and put it over their head and basically said, well, we're not going to let anybody go to the bathroom on the airplane an hour before we land. Boy, that'll stop the rain from leaking on my head. You see where I'm going with this thing? And it keeps on going. And it's so simple because there's a hole in the roof. It needs to be fixed. And that's the same thing as, how did the guy get on the plane to begin with? That's the same as, you can't stop the rain, but you can plug the hole up. And the question is, it's very simple. You put this guy, I had to laugh too. This guy, I heard it on the radio, I think, yesterday, that this guy was on a terrorist watch list. Now, he wasn't on a do not fly list, but he was on a terror watch list. Okay, and then the comments came was, well, we didn't think, even though he was on the list, we didn't consider him to be a threat. Why in the hell was he on the list to begin with? That doesn't make sense. It's like I told my wife this morning, I said, it's like there's a guy standing out in your dooryard with a machine gun, but he's not a threat. So why is he on the list to begin with if he's not a threat? What's he on the list for? Does that make any sense? But the thing is, the guy got a visa to travel to the he got a visa. That's the hole in the roof. He got a visa to travel to this country. The fool, all he wanted to, he tried to do everything that he could to keep from getting wet, but he never wanted to go plug the friggin' hole in the roof. And that seems to be the problem here. I don't understand why. I really don't. So anyway, those are my thoughts for today. You go out and have yourself a good day today. And before I leave, I just want to leave you with some comforting thoughts that everybody is cold. I mean, I'm down here in Florida, and it's been really cold. We've had frost, and I almost never see frost here. They're even talking about maybe some mixed precipitation in places tonight here in Florida. And everybody, they're freezing all over the world. But rest assured, we've been assured that this is because of global warming. So there you've heard it. Go out and have yourself a nice day. We'll see you next time right here on Open Air.